Sway Health.
Hey everyone, I'm John Lynn, the founder of Sway.Health. We're excited to bring you another in our series of interviews with top leaders in healthcare marketing. And our guest today is Jody Tropeano Greene. She's head of content at Health, and Troy Goodwin, account director at Health. Welcome.
Hey, how's
I
it
love that
going?
we waved in case anyone was going to mix us up.
I know.
It was
A
good,
little signal.
Troy and Jody. These days, you never know. So that was good. No, we're excited to have you all here. I think most in the Sway Health community probably know about health, but I'd love to, dive into some more details today. And I should also recognize and thank you for sponsoring the Sway Health Conference. It was great to have your presence there at the Sway Health Live Conference. So appreciate that. But for those that maybe don't, living in I don't know, in a cave or something, Troy, why don't you start us off? Tell us about yourself and health.
Yeah, so I'm an account director here at Health. Really work with all of our clients, our sponsors. My job is to really get you in front of the right people, the right types of activations, really align, your goals, initiatives with what we can deliver at Health. So it's really more of that consultative approach to make sure that, we're kind of checking those boxes that you need to when you do arrive in an event. And as we continue to grow, we even have opportunities really to massage and work and speak to our audience even before the event, then of course at the event, and then content for post-event too. So it's really my role here. But for Health coming up, Health 2025, it's really the leading healthcare innovation event where we're bringing in all those senior leaders within the healthcare ecosystem. And we cover the entire healthcare ecosystem at Health. So we're looking at those providers, the payers, the employers, the pharma and life science, government, startups, investors. So we really have the key decision makers all here to network and do business, really. And that's our goal for our sponsors as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Troy. I mean, health really is one of the most diverse conferences that I attend, and I attend 30 or 40 a year, and and it's in Vegas, which is convenient for me. It was nice of you guys to do that for me, but I'm
Yeah, it
sure
was
it
just for
wasn't
you,
for me.
John.
That's for you.
Just for you.
Yeah, no, obviously I'm a little biased since I live here. Jody, tell us about yourself.
So I lead content for Health. So for both the Health US event and our Vive event that just took place a few months ago. So really anything that happens on a stage. We build the content ourselves for our main program. So kind of coming up with what are the trending topics for this year? What direction do we want to take these conversations? What unique angle can we put on some of the topics that you hear kind of over and over again across the conference circuit? How can we put in a unique twist on it? And then selecting the speakers to come and speak about those topics. So looking for, really senior leaders, senior decision makers, people with a unique point of view, and then pairing them together in interesting ways, which is, I think, the most fun part of the job. Just, having a big idea, like, what if so-and-so spoke with so-and-so on this topic? Like, sure, let's try it out and see if it works and if we can convince these amazing leaders to follow our lead. So that's the main agenda. And then we have a plethora of partner programs. We work with some of the most established associations and organizations in the space to create their own kind of deep dive on certain topics. We work with amazing sponsors to come up with our specialty programs that take place on some of our specialty stages and within some of our insights programs and roundtables. So there's a lot going on, a lot of content going on across the event, and my team kind of has our tentacles in all of it.
Yeah.
So what Jody's saying is she's busy.
Yeah, a little busy, a tad busy.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Wrangling cats to some degree. It's interesting, health definitely has some of the biggest names that you can see, which I think has always been impressive. It's funny you say that, Jody, about the kind of who should we pair together? Because anytime someone says to me, hey, would they be on stage together? Would they even do that? I'm like, that sounds like a great session. That's the session we need.
Yeah.
If you're going to say that, that's like an indication, right?
Exactly. Like we say internally a lot, like we want our speakers to say the quiet part out loud. We want them to address the elephants in the room. I think it's awkward if there's something major going on in the industry and we have a person at the center of it not talking about it at all. So, we want people to bring it up. So I think that's what makes a lot of our sessions pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, as health is really a show about innovation, that's exactly why, Jody kind of takes that approach. We want what's really going on in the industry to be talked about at health. We don't want to shy away from that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Troy, you talked about, getting sponsors in front of the right audience. And that's what the Sway Health marketing community cares about, is like, who are the people that are going to be there so that I can do my business and interact with the right people. So tell us, what are some of the main titles for the attendees at the health conference?
yeah, so it's really, again, like I said, health is focused around the entire healthcare ecosystem. So you're going to see really director and above, when it comes to all, the titles that are going to be there. But we're looking at like chief innovation officers, chief medical officers, directors of health systems, directors of innovation, head of digital health, something like VP of employer services, VPs of health and managed care, VP of pharmacy. And also those business intelligence directors too. So it's covering the full gamut. And as we all know, there's always a new title that someone's making up every day. So
A lot of new chief AI officers
yes,
too.
chief AI officer is big now too. Yep.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's interesting. I interviewed one company that didn't have titles, and they started making up their own, which was with
We
AI
come
moving so
across that a
quickly, it
lot,
makes sense.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
make a pitch
interesting.
for that. Here, I want to make up my title.
right?
You should do that. I like that. So, Jody, talk to me. How do you approach kind of attracting the right audience? And have you seen that like certain content is really key to attracting them to the event?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely changes every year. So that's why my team, we're never not reading a newsletter. I read about 15 to 20 newsletters a day. We need to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on, what are people writing about, what content are people engaging with online. And that's kind of a good start for us to come up with what topics we're going to cover for the year. Like, for example, you can't open a healthcare newsletter without hearing about longevity right now. So I know that if I do a session around longevity, it's going to attract an audience. So we start with that. Okay, longevity is a really big topic, but how can we, parse it out? Like, what are the different angles to the longevity topic? So we'll have, 4 or 5 sessions that come at it from a different lens. So AI is obviously another big one, but a huge, broad topic. So how do we come at it from different angles? From the angle of the health system, from the investor perspective, from the pharmaceutical perspective. So we make sure that all of our key audiences that Troy kind of mentioned, that they have something for them on the program, especially when it comes to these big topics. Another one's caring for the aging population. I think that's making a lot of headlines right now. So how can we cover that in a unique way and make sure that no stone is left unturned? Like, we want our attendees to feel like they got what they needed out of the event and they weren't left more confused about any of these topics. And then kind of determining what we're not going to cover is probably more difficult than covering what we're going to cover. So just kind of figuring out like that's not for us, or that's better meant for Vive, which I know we'll get to later. That's maybe a little too niche for our audience. Like, maybe we don't have the R&D executives there. So covering, gene therapy just may not be the topic for us. So just getting to know our audience over the years too. And we are meticulously tracking session counts at all of our events. So I know what sessions deliver more butts and seats. So we do more of that and less of what didn't work, and then try new things every year and rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great that you're using the data that way. And I think you guys have really diversified over the years. Like, if I were thinking about last conference, to me, it felt like an explosion of dental health, which I didn't expect necessarily. And there was a ton of topics. Troy, what other, areas are you looking to grow? Or are there certain areas, that we should expect at Health 2025 that maybe, we didn't think would be there or wasn't there in the past?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I mentioned before, the show is about innovation, right? So a lot of what we'll do as well is I talk to clients every day, all day. So I'm hearing about some of the new innovations maybe they haven't released or they want to. So collaboratively, I will shoot Jody a note sometimes saying, hey, this is popping up over and over and over. Maybe we need to look into some sort of zone on the show floor. Maybe this hot topic is really being discussed in so many different ways, and so many clients want to be aligned with it. So, for this year, we're going to have our second time having the AI zone where there's thought leadership sessions going on, really honing in on all the ways that people are utilizing AI in the space in a different way, right? And to solve problems. We've got a new zone, our diagnostics zone, which is going to be great. We'll be holding content there as well on the stage. First year, we're having our pharma and life science zone as well on the show floor. We've seen a big boom in attendees and sponsorships when it's come about with pharma and life science as well. So we're just seeing that. I would say those are the major tracks. A lot of people starting to focus more on value-based care, that model again now that it's back into the mode that you can't really hide from it. So really, there's a lot of different ways. I would say the digital health aspect of it too. And there's always things talking about social determinants of health, rural healthcare, access to care, and that care coordination piece of it. I think we also are really seeing the idea of people taking their own, patients taking their own health into like their own hands, right? It used to be you just listen to the physician and do what you were told. Now there's so many different ways to really monitor your own health and get ahead of things, right? With that mindset too, where Jody said about longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll cover a lot of preventive health topics this year. We have a stage called our Holos stage, Holos meaning whole person. So that stage will have a lot of those topics. And even some kind of outliers, like we just confirmed the co-founder of Sweetgreen to come speak on that stage. So food as health, food as medicine, that's a big area for us too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's evolving so quickly. And, to Troy's point, value-based care hasn't died yet. And I don't think it will because we're paying too much for healthcare.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about kind of sponsor perspective. Many in the Sway Health community are sponsors of health. They're considering sponsoring it or should consider sponsoring it. So I'd love to hear, like maybe you could start, Jody, on kind of what content opportunities are available for sponsors at health. I know, I'm sure Troy hears it way too much. How do I get on stage, right? Like as a sponsor.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like this question because it's a good opportunity to kind of talk through the difference. Because we are still not pay to play. Our main stage is coveted. We won't accept a check of any size for the main stage, despite what some people may think. We really draw a hard line there. And same with our main agenda. We want that to be organic content that we create, fully merit-based. But we recognize that thought leadership is important to a lot of these organizations, and we want to give them something to be able to tell their story. So that's why we've developed programs like the AI zone, like the diagnostic zone, our insights programs that are super popular. Value-based care is actually one of that we just mentioned is one of the insights programs, payer insights, pharma insights. And then we have other opportunities on our impact stage, which is something we've done for the last several years, which is giving organizations a chance to kind of tell their health equity story and even bring a patient with them to help kind of tell their story and increase the impact of the patient voice across our event. So there's really something for everyone. And if you are looking to speak with a client, you have to look to one of those programs. On the earned opportunities, we won't have sessions where it's one organization and a panel of their clients. We get pitched that every day. I get like 20 emails pitching that very thing. It would be impossible to choose who to go with there. So it has to go through sponsorship. And it's a really great stage and it's a beautifully recorded session. I think it's a no-brainer if that's what you're looking to accomplish at the event, to look at those programs. And Troy can speak to this more eloquently because he is pitching people this every day.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is something that I always say to clients, essentially, give me the story. What do we have upcoming? Of course, they know who you are, but to see if there is alignment there with one of our content thought leadership programs. So of course, there's times where it's just not going to be the right fit. But, as I mentioned, diagnostics this year, pharma and life science, value-based care, payer insights. We also have, some summits that we do around the future of health tech and then the future of preventative care on Wednesday mornings. So we really want to make sure that there are these great thought leadership opportunities, though, that also develop content for our clients post-event. So most of these paid for sessions are going to be recorded. We'll post those recordings to our health community, but they'll also get that asset that they can utilize post-event for follow-up, for their own branding that they want. Every marketer knows it's basically impossible to keep up with the amount of content that you need. So we essentially build in the way to have that content, sharing it there on site, but then having it to utilize post-event. And in the same regard, everyone engages with content differently. Some people are listeners for podcasts. Some people are video. Some are just a hard, insights piece, a white paper, for instance. So we have programs that really give you the opportunity to have multiple different assets to utilize post-event too for your additional promotions and follow-up with all those people that you met at health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a startup pitch tournament.
Yes.
Yeah. So that, the sponsor would have the opportunity to MC, to do a little bit of an opener. So that's kind of a great, not as direct thought leadership opportunity, more of a passive one to associate yourself with this amazing competition. And then our skills labs that our health community is putting together, more of a roundtable format. There really is something for everyone. So if you don't get an earned opportunity, it's not the end of the road for you.
And listen, we are a company that likes to be creative. So a lot of the times, for instance, like Jody said, if someone's pitching a full panel, this is not something we do, right? So you can also do something like a private luncheon where, you host it, it's all turnkey for you, but there's the AV, there's the stage where then you can bring in 3 of your executives and a partner. It's essentially yours to build out on that. So there's always, as Jody, you just said, there's always something for someone. It's just a matter of sometimes getting a little creative on how we would want to approach it if something isn't, say, the perfect fit.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting, Jody, that you get so many pitches for them to be on stage. When you look at the call for speakers, which you don't have, you don't have a call for speaker in this true sense of submit this session. You have a call for, hey, here's someone who could speak. So it should be clear that you don't want packaged sessions, right? Is that kind of what that's what I understand from the outside. Is that a fair assessment of how you kind of approached it?
We have speaker applications. If you look through that page, it explains what we're looking for. We're looking for leaders. We always say we choose speakers, not companies.
Yeah.
We're looking for what makes your perspective unique, not what makes your company unique. Obviously, we're taking the company into consideration because a lot of times if you're a founder, your company is a reflection of you. But, for the majority of these applications, it's someone with a very storied career, and we're looking at the entirety of it to make our decision.
Yeah. Not to mention, what are they going to say on stage? Are they going to say the stuff that, as you said, they're going to say the things no one wants to say they should?
Yeah. And the questions we ask in the application give us a sense of what they're willing to say. So we kind of probe a bit. I mean, it's a pretty easy application to fill out. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes of your time. We're not looking for novels. Just give us your honest answer. And throw your hat in the ring. Why not?
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, I was going to say that I tell all of my clients, do not submit a panel. Do not just one single person, because that's the only way Jody's going to get a chance to really look at it, because she's going to be the one really building it out. So you almost kind of put yourself in a worse situation if you're trying to pitch a panel there. The way to do it is really put that person forward, and hopefully that they'll align with a program that Jody's already had in mind and piecing together.
Yeah, we'll often decline the applications that submit a full panel because we don't know who's applying here. We don't know. So we have over 1,000, near 2,000 to look at. So we can't spend the time to kind of parse through one application to figure out who the speaker is.
Would be.
Yeah. That's really helpful. I mean, it's one of the biggest things at Sway Health is how do they apply for, sessions at conferences and what are the options? So this is really helpful. Troy, would you say there's something that sponsors should be doing as they approach health to make sure that they get the most ROI from their investment. We had this interesting keynote at Sway Health this year with Steve Lieber, and there was a question about like, hey, how do I get the right customers? And he's like, our job as a conference is not to get you the right customers. It's to get the customers in the room, and then you do the work to talk to the customers. I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of how, in perspective of what should sponsors do to make sure they're getting the best, bang for their buck of their sponsorship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I have this conversation with clients all the times because usually it's the marketing person, right? That's got the power, that has to piece this all together and essentially get their best package together for their essentially sales team to then show up and deliver, right? Well, unfortunately, a lot of people don't sit here and do the work beforehand to set themselves up for success. And as you mentioned, we've got them there. We can't make them go to your booth. So really what we say is, and I try to push to all of my clients is utilize our health app before the event. I have some clients that have a full calendar scheduled because as soon as we send them the list, as soon as they have access about 3 to 4 weeks before the event, they utilize the app and already start looking up targets and people that they're really want to, meet with and setting up those meetings before through the app. You don't want to wait till you're there on site to start networking. Utilize the tools that we've created and built for you. So that way, when you arrive, you already know, okay, I've got 7, 8 meetings set per day. And you're getting on those people's calendars that everyone wants to meet with beforehand. So I think it's really smart to take the time to really look at who you're trying to get in front of, who you're trying to meet with, and then reaching out to them already. The app is just a great, great tool that the sponsors that have this most success are utilizing the time before they arrive to get that networking going.
Wow.
Not using AI tools to pull contact information and spam.
Exactly.
That is not the right way to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, does email inboxes from spam don't work. They only work if
Right.
it's a trusted email that they read regularly. We've seen that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Jody, what should people understand the difference between health and Vive? Certainly, health runs both events. It has a similar vibe, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Health has a vibe to it that I think we all appreciate, and seeing kind of the graffiti style, the very colorful, creative style that you have. But what should people understand? Health, which is happening this fall, and then Vive, which happens in the spring. What's the difference, and what should they know and understand about it?
Yeah. Yeah, and the vibe is the same. I mean, it's our style of events. So I think, that's going to carry through. You should expect the same level of attendee experience, the same kind of whimsical feel to our marketing. But, I've had to kind of wrap my head around the difference too as we're planning the content. This is my way of thinking about it. So feel free to use this. But I think of health as looking at the forest of health innovation. So kind of the big macro trends, how they're touching every player within the ecosystem. And then for Vive, okay, we're going down into the trees, into the weeds. Day to day, how does this impact the business of healthcare, mainly from the health system perspective and the people providing the care to patients. So we get kind of a little bit of a more specific lens at Vive from the providers and the health systems. Payers are still a big part of that event. You may see some pharmaceutical executives, but it's not as diverse of a mix as health. And that's we're doing that purposely. We want to build this event for the health systems. And so a little bit more health IT focused too. So maybe we'll have to do another podcast on your other podcast for Vive.
Hey, we did 50 videos at Vive. So yeah, Healthcare IT Today loves Vive.
Healthcare IT Today, Vive is your place. Health IT, obviously it's too big of a topic to not cover at health, but you're just going to get a slice of that at health. And the majority of the Vive agenda will be health IT focused, data focused, digital health focused. Health, we can get a little bit more creative with our topic mix, a little bit more thought-provoking as far as like, what if this happened? Where Vive, we need to talk about what's actually happening day to day.
Yeah, I always say that health is a little bit more like looking to the future, innovation, what is up and coming. And Vive is more of the here and now, the business behind healthcare. And as Jody had said, a stronger focus on those providers and payers when health is really covering the entire healthcare ecosystem.
Yeah. No, and that's how I describe it to people. I say health is about the innovation and has the entire healthcare ecosystem involved in that innovation. So, yeah, that has health systems, but it's often the innovation officer or a forward-thinking CIO that wants to be there. Whereas Vive has more of the health IT systems, right? The enterprise health IT, and how are they implementing it in the enterprise? So that's interesting.
Yeah, and Vive obviously is a partnership with the Chime organization.
Sure. Of course.
CIOs, of health systems, that's their bread and butter. So there's a reason we partner with Chime, and they've been an amazing partner over the years.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Makes sense. Well, as we wrap up, I'd love to hear from both of you. What else should healthcare marketing professionals understand about health that maybe they don't know, or you wish they knew better, or they heard more about? Maybe you could start, Troy, and Jody go after.
Yeah, something I always am trying to really get across is that health is not just an event company. We produce 2, and then with Health Europe, 3 really fantastic events, but we've expanded beyond that now, and we're really building a community, which we have now is our digital community, health community. And I'm trying to get across to marketers, don't just look at us as 2 events that you're doing within the United States, right? What you need to be doing is engaging with our audience all year round, utilizing our community that we've built and are continuing to grow. We started maybe out as an events company, but we are much more than that now. And you can definitely look to us, to be able to source a digital front and helping build a digital presence for you all throughout the year, engaging with our attendees and our audience, and then really hammer it down being at our events. So we're always growing, we're always evolving, and our goal is to always kind of be ahead of everyone else. So the creativity is never going to slow down, really.
And more to come on that too, on additional opportunities to engage with our community.
Oh,
yeah.
Little teaser there, huh, Jody?
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to keep it to what I can say for now.
Yeah. We'll sing it from the rooftops as soon as we can.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Anything you'd add, Jody, that people should know about health that you'd love for them to understand?
I mean, I guess just your community of marketing executives, I would just, speak directly to them and say, I think health is an event for them too. I think often they wait for, one of their executives to get chosen to speak to then accompany them to the event, or if they're sponsoring to come to the event. But if you're doing neither of those things, I think you should still consider health as a destination for you. A lot of marketing executives that I work with are very in the know about healthcare trends, and they actively try to keep up with them. So why not come and learn from the experts? And also, we do have a few partner programs that are geared more towards marketing executives. So I would just say, come along. It's for you too.
Yeah, and we always do some sort of Sway Health meetup, picture, get together at the event. May even do something a little more formal this year. We'll see how it all comes together between now and this fall. But I love all your insights, and I appreciate you both taking time to talk with us and share about health. It's become such an important event, and so well executed, and people. You're exactly right. It has a vibe, and when you go there, you feel it. It has a different experience than most of the other conferences out there. So I appreciate you both hopping on to take time to share about this. And I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. If you want to find more great healthcare marketing content like this, be sure to check it out at sway.health. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.